All right, turning to this, President Biden's electric vehicle push is getting resistance from both buyers and investors. The Wall Street Journal reporting EV charging networks like ChargePoint Holdings, Blink Charging, and EVgo have seen massive drops in their shares in the last year. With me now is Power of the Future Executive Director Daniel Turner. Daniel, great to see you. So Blink Charging's chief executive, Brendan Jones, said he thinks investors are just getting weary of the fact that none of these companies make any money. To me, that's kind of a demand story on the EV side of things. Have we turned the corner? Is this market really showing itself as being way premature in terms of its viability?
Yeah, it really shows that no matter how much government pours in incentives and mandates and subsidizes these companies, you really can't force the consumer to buy a product before they're ready to. And EVs may be really cool technology, but ultimately a car is a machine and it's a vehicle and it has a purpose. And for the utilitarian purposes that most people want, they either can't afford an EV, which averages around $60,000 per, or they need something that can haul weight, that can carry a lot of passengers, and that you don't have to sit in a charging lot for 30, 45 minutes every couple of hours. And so EVs are they're not ready for prime time, and government cannot force them to be ready faster than the free market allows.
All right, so let me get your take on this one, because this to me is like the right and left hand not knowing what they're doing. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that President Biden's considering bringing back Trump-era tariffs on Chinese EVs. Of course, to try to encourage Americans to buy American-made EVs, all fine, except for they're pushing Americans to have to buy EVs. So on the one hand, you can't get them. On the other hand, you have to have them. That doesn't fit together, Daniel, but it leaves consumers holding the bag once again. What's your reaction to this?
Yeah, well, look, if you're trying to find economic or any philosophical consistency in the Biden administration's policies, be they energy policies, EV policies, name the issue, there is no consistency. And this is a great example of that. Just a couple of weeks ago, COP28 wrapped up in Dubai, and all the world leaders were there. Vice President Harris went to represent the United States. Xi Jinping did not attend and didn't really send anyone of note to attend. They sat quietly on the outskirts because they realized that all of these global climate initiatives, whether they be EVs or wind and solar, China is the huge beneficiary. China produces 70% of these products. And so China loves the fact that the Biden administration wants us to drive EVs, wants us to use wind and solar, because they're benefiting. President Trump realized that. He imposed those tariffs to try to level the playing field. Biden's now just playing catch up 3 years later, again, showing a lot of naivete when he came into office that first day and got rid of these tariffs.
Yeah, and of course, Trump wasn't trying to force all of us to buy EVs, which is why that policy could work in that situation. But I want to ask you about gas prices, because that's been an interesting story this year. They hit their lowest point of the year last week. National average was $3.06 per gallon. Now, some are saying that's the bottom. They're not going to go any lower than that. They've bumped back up to $3.12 per gallon. Daniel, what do you expect to see in the new year? This is probably a big issue for an election year. Is this going to give Biden a boost that gas prices have come down, or is something else going to happen here?
Yeah, it's a great point you raised, because last time we had a critical election, Biden went to the strategic reserves. But he can't do that anymore. He's already drained the vast majority. We only have about 17 days of supply left. So if there are gas issues, he doesn't have any other bullets left in the chamber, quite frankly. I don't know what's going to happen with gas prices. My hunch is that the winter gas prices tend to be at their lowest. We're not driving as much. We're not traveling as much. And I'm thrilled to see gas prices coming down. It is bringing much needed relief to the American family. But look, we still have an ongoing fight with this administration for drilling, for land and access. And until our supply continues to bump up, OPEC has announced that they're not going to increase production anytime soon. I think gas prices are going to go back up. It seems logical that that's where they have to go.
OPEC's not going to help, Iran's not going to help, and summer driving season is not going to help. We'll see where things go with gas. Daniel Turner, always good to see you. Thanks for being with us.
Merry Christmas. Thanks, Brian.
Merry Christmas.